All right, for this video, we are going to be covering determining grid coordinates. Now, the program that I am going to be using can be accessed by getting with any of your instructors, and they will be able to give you this program to help you with land navigation. So, as I said, we're going to be covering determining grid coordinates. So, I will select on determining grid coordinates. Okay. Now, I want to start this off by you need to understand the golden rule to land navigation, which is right then up. So, whenever you're dealing with a map and more specifically a protractor, you're always going to be reading the things right then up when determining locations. Okay. So, you will see numbers right here on the left hand side, and this is what is known as the northing. Okay. So, because the numbers go up from 80 to 83. That is why it is called the northing. Okay. Then up here, you see the numbers at the top, and this is what we call is the easting because it brings you right and ultimately east. Okay. So you start with 0, 1 all the way to 0, 4. Okay. Now, each grid square, okay, is 1,000 meters long by 1,000 meters tall. Okay. And that will help you understand as we progress as far as actually finding your location and how close each of these grids can get you to the location that you're trying to get. All right. So we will start off with a which is covering the 4, 6, and 8 and 10-digit grids. Okay, so for a 4-digit grid, that gets you within 1,000 meters. 6 will get you within 100, 8, 10, and then a 10-digit grid will get you within 1 meter of the location that you're trying to get. Now, for land navigation purposes, okay, you will be dealing primarily with 8-digit grids. Okay, so just kind of understand that is that 8-digit grids is what you need, all right, to actually navigate a land navigation course. Okay. Now, you may think, well, 10-digit grids would be even more accurate. All right. The only way that you're really going to get an accurate 10-digit grid is by using an actual GPS, all right, to get one. All right. So that's why we kind of default to the 8-digit grid. All right, so kind of moving on. All right, so we're going to discuss now just finding the 4-digit grid. Okay, so just like I said earlier, as far as the golden rule goes, is that you always go right then up first. Okay, don't pay attention to this grid right here that I am circling, as it will change as I highlight each square. Okay, so we'll just say that we want to get to the lake that's kind of depicted in the top center part of the map right here. So you will see that the 4-digit grid has just populated as 0282. That is because we went right first, and then as soon as we hit our first bold number along the line, we got the 02. Okay. Then once we come on up, the first number that we pass that's along a bold line is the 82. So that's how we got the 0282. All right. So if I wanted to find a different one, we'll say here, okay, again, I go right first and then I stop at 01 and then I come on up and it's 82. All right. So again, I went right, then up. If you do it out of sequence, you will come up with the wrong grid. So always make sure that you go right, then up. Okay. So now we're going to talk about 6-digit grids. So now, just like what we found earlier, all right, with the grid square, 6-digit grids are going to be more precise and it's going to be numbers, all right, within the grid square. Okay. So as we add on to it, just understand is that the 4-digit grid that we got will not change. We are just adding numbers, particularly with a 6-digit grid. We are adding one number to the easting and one number to the northing. Okay. And that is all that we are doing. Okay. Now, 8-digit grid. All right. Now, this is where we will actually be using our protractor. Okay, so we already found out for point A, you should be able to identify now that that is in grid square 0282. Okay, now when we use our protractor, okay, we will start on the left hand side of the grid square and we will be slowly moving it on over. Now, thing about the protractors is that it has three different triangles. Okay, you have a 1 over 50,000th triangle, a 1 over 100,000th triangle, and a 1 over 250,000th triangle. Okay, for this purpose in this demonstration, we will be using the 1 over 50 thousandths. All right, now when you do actual land navigation out on a course, you may get a 1 over 50 thousandths, which is the medium triangle, or you may get a 1 over 250 thousandths, all right, map, which will be the big triangle. All right, you will not have to worry about trying to land navigate with the smaller one as it will not be as accurate. Okay, so as you see, we're still trying to get to this blue dot. So we lined up our triangle on our protractor, and now we are going to begin slowly moving it on over to the right. Okay, so now when dealing with 8-digit grids, it is very important that you know there is a little bit of guesstimation involved. Okay, so by just doing a quick glance, all right, we would see that here is our start point right along this line that I am showing you on your screen. All right, and it follows all the way down. Quick glance would have it actually as a 6. Okay, but if you really look closely, you'll see it is just behind the 6. So we would actually round it down a little bit, and that would be 5-9. Okay, so that's how we went right, and then now we come on up, and it's kind of blocked out, but that would be the 3, and we see that it's just above the 3. Okay, so our actual grid would be 0259, because remember, we always use the right numbers first, and we do not just add them on to the end. They actually have to go along with our easting numbers. So again, the top numbers are our easting, and we add these on to the back side of them. And then there's our 3-1 as far as our northern numbers go. Okay, so that is how now we got the 8-digit grid of 02598231. Okay, now if you have already seen the video of the marginal information, the letter code that we get that actually goes in front of your grid can be found here in the marginal information. Okay, so in this case it says EH is above the 00 grid line and EG is below the 00 grid line. So now you will see how some maps, all right, may cover a very wide and vast area. So where we have the 00 right here, any grids below this number, below the 00, will be EG. Okay. And anything above will be EH. And that is how you determine, all right, grids on a map. If at any point in time you need help, please reach out to your instructors and they can give you more specific guidance.